Your objective in any business is profitability. And I always advise every entrepreneur, you must be profitable from day one. Okay? From day one, the math should be giving you a profit. Usianze that, I will be profitable in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year. That would be reality, but from the onset, your math should be profitable. And you should be operating from that sense. This is not America, where we have a lot of idle capital. I encourage entrepreneurs to do your math per day, okay? Ikienda sana ni weekly. History ya monthly ni watu wamekuwa employed. Wewe fanya biashara yako na upige hesabu daily ama ikienda sana weekly if you're running such a business, okay? Because you want to also keep up and set aside money efficiently. Greetings from House of Maji. My name is Mwalimu Ken Juma. Mwanazamita Daktari wa Maji. We've been helping businesses solve water problems over the years, and because of that, a lot of people have been approaching us for lessons on how to do a water refill business. For this reason, we've come up with a masterclass to help entrepreneurs who want to get into the business understand what they're getting themselves into. In the previous class, we focused on the right location. How do you pick the right location? And we, just to give you a summary, decided on location should be something that is informed by the kind of segment you want to target. Tulongea juu ya clubs, tulongea juu ya population of students, tulongea juu ya residential areas, tulongea juu ya malls, na tulongea juu ya residents. One thing I want to add from the previous lesson is you must focus on a place with water problems. What I mean by water problems is the less efficient the utility in that area. Utility, I mean water suppliers. Kama Nairobi Water, sijui Mavoko, Kiwasco, Jiwasco, Mawasco, Maskosko zote. The more inefficient they are, the bigger your opportunity. So, coupled with what we did for the last lesson, you can now be able to build on that. Today, our lesson is going to focus on estimating profitability. How do you estimate whether that area, whether that business, whether that target market is going to give you the profit that you're looking for? Everything you do has an objective. That is how you'll be able to assess whether you're good at it, whether you succeeded or not. Don't just start. Identify your objective, then start. So, your objective in any business is profitability. And I always advise every entrepreneur, you must be profitable from day one. Okay? From day one, the math should be giving you a profit. Usianze that, I will be profitable in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year. That would be reality, but from the onset, your math should be profitable. And you should be operating from that sense. This is not America, where we have a lot of idle capital. People can just invest in your business and you're making losses. Okay? This happened Facebook, Amazon. People just put money in it and it's making losses for 10 years. That cannot work in an economy like ours. So, profitability from the word go. So, what determines profitability? So, we have the expenses. Profitable is revenue minus expenses. This gives you profit. Wajanja wanaita margins. So we're going to look at what determines your revenue and then what determines expenses. We'll start with revenue. Price per bottle. This could be also the PET. PET ni zile za 1 liter, 500 ml, 300 ml, 1.5 liter. So how much you able to sell it for? This will depend with the target market you're looking for. So for example, in areas like Kilimani, Karen, Wapi Wapi, water can go from 300 to even 500 based on how you brand yourself. Between 300 to 500 shillings based on how you brand yourself per bottle. This is per 20 liter. Kama unaifanya mahali kama Mlolongo, Kibera, Mathare, we are looking at 100 to maybe 200 shillings, depending on where. If you're targeting students, this can go for as low as 50 shillings. Amara 20, let's say to 100 shillings. So this is like the categorization of the revenue. This is your main source of revenue. In fact, in most, this will be the only source of revenue because this is the product you're selling, okay? The price per bottle. We have the number of bottles you sell. This is a function of your marketing. How many bottles you sell is a function of your marketing, is a function of the location, is a function of your staffing. Okay? You need very good staff, very honest people. When you don't want to kuiba, very important. So let's run some numbers. Let's run some estimates. So we will take, let's take 200 shillings. I want to use 200 shillings because I will take you through the entire journey. Actually, we moved 150. I'll take you through, I'll make an assumption. Most of us want to target this segment. So we'll take average here of 150. So we're saying you're targeting an area that is middle, low, middle, mahali hapo. So you can sell to them water at 150 shillings, okay? So we will run the numbers using that, 150. So you're selling one at 150. One bottle. So in a day, you should target to be able to sell about 200. If you sell 200, we have 30,000. This is on the higher side. Okay? Again, this is a function of location, marketing, staff. So if you're doing delivery, where you are, how much you've marketed, your revenues will range from here per day. This is daily revenue. I encourage entrepreneurs to do your math per day, okay? Ikienda sana ni weekly. History ya monthly ni watu wamekuwa employed. Wewe fanya biashara yako na upige hesabu daily ama ikienda sana weekly if you're running such a business, okay? Because you want to also keep up and set aside money efficiently. So let's take the average. Let's say you're doing 50. Let's say you're doing 50. I'm using 50 because we have a refill business that I'll show you, I'll take you to, and you'll see where we do between 50 to 100 per day. So we will use 50 for the sake of hii hesabu. Okay? So this gives you your daily revenue. So let's say we are doing our books, our numbers per week. So multiply this by around 7. This is a weekly revenue. Ngapi? Niangalie calculator. So let's say around 37,500. Okay? So we can estimate this as your daily revenue of 40,000 shillings. In the example I was telling you, we normally have a target of 60,000 shillings weekly. Our target is 60,000 shillings. But using our math, so averagely we normally get around 50,000 shillings. This is for a small water refill business. You're targeting your day consumers, low to middle income. You have 50,000 shillings per month, per week, okay, of revenue. So write this figure somewhere. Our revenue, let's say, is 50K. Yes. Hii ndio kamera yangu. Sawa. 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 So now we look at the second segment is expenses. Expenses ni simply pesa yenye una spend kwa biashara. Revenue ni pesa unapata, expenses ni pesa una spend. So expenses, the main expenses you will have is number 1, rent. Number 2, salaries. Number 3, daily operations. So in daily operations here, we have things like purchasing bottles, we have things like repairs. These are things that will happen when you're running your business. Have repairs. We have things like what if fuel. Fuel is if you're doing deliveries using a van or your bike. You'll have fuel. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So credit. Your delivery people will need to call. When you're delivering water, some clients will flash. And then you need to call them back. And then when you're going to deliver, umefika kwa gate, you need to call the client, kuja ufungue mlango. So you'll use credit. And then the last bit of expense inakuwaga ni, let's see, rent. I'm forgetting something here, but I remember. So let's say rent, you're paying 20K. Okay? Say salaries, depending on where you're setting up, it ranges. So salaries unaweza lipa msee between 10 to 20, depending on how much work there is, where you are in terms of you running the business and the place. If you're expensive place, lazima ulipa watu vizuri. If it's an affordable place, you can get away with some stipend, depending on how umepangana na watu wako. But here, you need, let's say, like 4 people. The reason you need 4 people, you want these people to operate in shifts. Biashara ya Maji, you want to be able to open as early as, say, 7:30 a.m. and close as late as, say, 9:30 p.m. So when you have shifts, 2 people will get in early, and then the other 2 will join late, but leave late. This one will leave early. Okay? Utaki kunyanyasa watu pia. So unawapatia watu some breathing space. That's when they'll deliver well. So 4 people, let's say you're paying them 20, we're looking at now 80 here. Okay. Now, daily operations, credit, rent, hizi kwa kitu kidogo. So let's say you have 10,000 worth of it. 10,000. All right. And so you can say miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Oh, what I was forgetting, marketing. Very, very crucial to keep people knowing and remembering your brand. You need to do marketing. So marketing, you can maybe set aside another 10,000, right? And then you can say miscellaneous. Say you say another 20,000. So miscellaneous hapa naongelea, you may need to brand your people, some t-shirts here and there, something like that. For miscellaneous. So this gives us he plus he ni 100, 110, 120, 140. Okay? 140. So for the sake of hesabu, let's just take it 160. Let's say another 20 extra ni hesabu huko umepiga. Kanjo amefanya sijui nini. Mtu alikuwa anafanya wapi ameanguka, sijui nini. Yaani kuna story. Biashara kuna story mob. Unaweza amka alafu unapata sijui stima, sijui nini. So hiyo tuweke hapo. Okay? Now, you have your utilities. So your utilities also fall here. Okay? Juu nilishaweka hapa miscellaneous mbao. Ituweke ni utilities actually. Utilities ni sasa penye unabuy maji, the water you buy, and the electricity. Yeah. Very important. So we have 160. 160 is now the expenses, your total expenses monthly. This is your monthly total expenses. Hii tumeweka kila kitu. Rent umelipa, salaries umelipa, daily operations umefanya, marketing, tuweka miscellaneous ya 20, which is high considering tushalipa utilities, but tuweka tu 20, alafu na utilities ya mbao. So, haya. So your weekly revenue tumesema ni 50. Expenses ilikuwa ni 160, divide by 4, we have 40. Okay? So this gives you revenue is 50. Expenses is 40. This gives you 10K weekly. If you multiply this by 4, gives you 40K. So averagely, extra days in a week, you have an estimate of about 50,000 shillings per month. This is what you should expect as your margins monthly for the example that we did. This is not constant. If you're targeting students and very low income, penye unauza maji mbao, you'll have lower margin, but you can work on now your volumes. Okay? If you're doing higher places, high end, this margin will of course can go beyond, let's say up to 300. We have examples that do this. If you're targeting like corporates and all that, one corporate can actually give you a revenue of this. So it depends on how you market yourself, depends on how you've positioned yourself. That is the margin. Hiyo ndio ukweli ya water refill business. Okay? This is coming from someone who has several setups. We've been doing this for a decade plus. So these are the numbers. Kama unaingia, hii ndio ukweli ya biashara. And this is money that you can get reliably per month if you're running your business efficiently and with honesty. Our number right now is 50K. That, ladies and gentlemen, covers our second lesson, which was estimating profitability. To recap, we looked at what constitutes your revenue. How much are you selling per bottle? And the number of bottles you're able to sell. We did that and we arrived at a weekly revenue estimate of 50,000. Then we did an estimate of the expenses. We listed all the expenses that a water refill business goes through. Spoke of rent, spoke of utilities, spoke of staffing, salaries, and running expenses. Marketing as well, and miscellaneous. We've done all that, gives us a figure of that 40,000. Okay? For 40,000, we did our math, revenue minus expenses, and we had a figure of 50K monthly as your profit for a small water refill business. If you have any questions, hit us up, hapo kwa comments, tuulize. I will come back, I will respond, I will give you feedback on whatever it is you want to ask. That makes our second class. Our third class is going to be on selecting the right equipment. Selecting the right equipment. What makes the right equipment? How do you determine which equipment is right for you? This is going to be very important because we're going to take this number and we're going to divide by how much you're going to use to be able to find out your ROI, which is return on investment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending the second class. See you in the third class. Class is by House of Maji, Semeni Pamoja. Nyumba bila kiu. Welcome.